There may have been some technical issues with the beginning of this episode. If there are, we do apologize and we have cleaned it up. We hope you enjoy listening to this episode.
I've abandoned my podcast. I've abandoned my podcast. I've abandoned my podcast because There Will Be Blood is coming up next.
Haven't seen it with Tim Sestito and Tommy Timoney. Hello, everybody. Welcome on in. Thank you all so much for listening today. This is a podcast where one of us is watching a movie for the very first time. And today that is Tommy, not seeing the seminal film by Paul Thomas Anderson. It's fifth film. Today we are joined by a very special guest, musician Sean Faust. Sean, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us here.
Thanks for having me on to talk about this masterpiece of a film.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit of your relationship, because I know you and Tommy had been talking on Twitter, and I think you had suggested There Will Be Blood as the one that you were like, oh, if I'm coming on, I'm doing this one.
I think, Tommy, you mentioned a bunch of movies, but I think I had just watched There Will Be Blood like a month before or something like that, and you had mentioned not seeing it. I was like, oh, something else. I still haven't read Oil. I should probably read that book. Man, PTA really loves directing books. Yeah, this was I don't remember what else you suggested, Tom, because the second I saw those words,
There Will Be Blood. You're like, that's all I need to know. Because I
sure will be.
Yeah, I probably suggested some random horror movies and like always throw a smorgasbord out of like, here you go, pick something, and then There Will Be Blood stuck. Because I remember you tweeted about it. I was like, okay, I need to film this blind spot.
It's just so goddamn good.
Tommy loves suggesting horror movies just to torture me, because I am, of the two of us, I am not the horror film master. That is all Tommy's domain there. So very happy because I haven't watched this movie since college. It's been a very long time for me since I've revisited this.
Aren't you glad that Tommy didn't suggest Zombie Strippers?
Yeah. Oh God, awful movie.
Oh my, yeah, but awful in the best way. It's probably my favorite Robert Englund performance, if you want me to be honest with you. And I grew up on V. I love V. But there's something about that performance in Zombie Strippers that is almost next level for him.
I do remember being hilarious, but that is a hot take, and we're all here for all that. Because Freddy Krueger's the one for me.
I'm with you on that. Don't get me wrong. Of course, Freddy Krueger's the legend, but V and Zombie Strippers just walking around covering his face, spraying everybody with antibacterial shit. It's good stuff.
Yeah, Tim, we'll get to that one on a future episode pretty soon.
Yeah, Zombie Strippers.
Yeah, it's we go for the unrated version. It's worth it.
I mean, I imagine based on the title. The 2005 era of movies where it was like the unrated DVD release with the
this is
the version they couldn't show you in theaters.
Well, they didn't even show that movie in theaters.
Yeah, it was direct to DVD, and I remember it was a movie that like I rented at a middle school sleepover, where like on like a VOD, where it's like, oh guys, we're watching Zombie Strippers, holy shit.
Yeah, that's a perfect middle school movie. But so is this your favorite Paul Thomas Anderson? I feel like with his filmography, this is widely known as his best film. But I feel like a lot of people have other favorites of his.
Boogie Nights is definitely my favorite of his. But as far as best, it's one of those movies, like whatever Paul Thomas Anderson movie you're watching at that moment is his best movie at that moment. Because I think I feel the same way about Licorice Pizza that I do about There Will Be Blood, that I do about Boogie Nights, that I do about Magnolia, or The Master. I love this guy's work.
This just flew by amazingly. I think that Daniel Day-Lewis's performance really helps it. And, like the character, he's just hypnotizing as Daniel Plainview. And you can see why the whole entire town's get like enveloped into like his whole entire aura.
I'm an oil man.
Yeah. When you do all those
Unicorn.
speeches, you're just captivated.
And they're like these single shot speeches too. And him and Dano, I think together are just magnificent. I just want movies with the two of them. I want Batman and Robin with those two.
Oh,
But
that'd be amazing.
but Daniel Day-Lewis is Robin, and that's your twist.
That's
Yeah.
your
Well,
choice.
Day Lewis has like not done a single like commercial movie. I feel like one that's like a blockbuster. Maybe Last of Mohicans is the closest he's been
That's
to
like
it.
the only one I
Lincoln.
could think of.
Lincoln.
Lincoln, that's
And
right. He did
Lincoln.
the
And
Spielberg
Lincoln.
flick, yeah.
Yeah. And I guess you could say
Spielberg,
9.
Historical epic, but
But like, where's the Daniel Day-Lewis modern day like Coach Carter type movie or like Remember the Titans? We were bringing that up earlier. Like,
he'd rather be a cobbler. He's been a
Yeah,
cobbler for the past since Phantom Thread came out. Okay, he's just
he can't play in the modern era.
he's preparing shoes, and then his son is directing a movie, and he's like, "Dad, I kind of need you in this." So now he's going to be in this movie.
Yeah, exactly. That's all it
And if
takes.
that's what it takes to get Daniel Day-Lewis back on our screens, I'm okay with that.
But he seems like the type of guy. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if he didn't have a computer.
No,
Like, he's like,
you think this guy's emailing and is on Twitter?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly.
Personally,
No.
I don't even own a television.
Yeah, something like that.
All of his books are in Braille, so he can like learn some other kind of like way to like do something magnificently.
Yeah, he's like method acting to be a blind guy in a new movie.
Exactly. I mean, he already did My Left Foot. So what's the next method acting?
I love my left foot thing that he like refused to walk even in between takes. So he had crew members like.
Oh yeah, I mean he's like that for everything he does. Can you imagine
Yeah.
just Abraham Lincoln walking around for 3 months?
Oh God, yeah. He's like, please call me Mr. Lincoln or something. It's like, oh God, it must be the worst sometimes being around someone like him.
Oh, I'm just Abe. Just call me Abe.
Yeah.
Well, that's better Abe Lincoln than Bill the Butcher.
Oh yeah, true.
So like I mean that intensity carried over here. So Paul Dano was not originally Paul and Eli Sunday. That was actually Kel O'Neill. But he was so intimidated by Daniel Day's intensity and habit of staying in character, they had to fire him allegedly.
Oh, wow.
And then Paul Dano, who had a smaller role in the movie, got elevated into that position there. So that intensity kind of like carries over. And if we want to say like what's the closest thing to a blockbuster he has, even though kind of bombed, Gangs of New York.
Yeah.
At least the way that is shot and like the way that story is told, that is a blockbuster in all senses of the word. Just didn't do that well. But even in that one, he would walk around with knives and was just cutting and slashing and always had a knife in his hand on the set there.
The theater watching The Departed and just, dude, when the hell did you become a great actor? What am I watching here?
Oh, it is crazy because for me, like Leo always was a guy who's like the prestige actor right there, where he's always in there. So, but I need to watch Gangs of New York all the way through. But I've always heard the same thing where it's like, okay, so most of it's good, but then Cameron Diaz gives the worst performance ever.
It doesn't ruin it though.
Yeah,
It's
Right.
fun. It's not Scorsese's best.
yeah. So, Tim, have you seen anything good recently?
Yeah, I mean, I have a couple things I could talk about. But I went to the theater for the 30th anniversary re-release, the 30th anniversary of me going to the movies for the very first time, and I saw Toy Story. I saw Toy Story in theaters, and what a magical little animated movie. I know it's kind of it's funny watching how it completely changed the animation industry. Now everything is 3D animated, and watching it, especially on a big screen, it looks good, but like the humans in it, you can tell why the humans are on the screen for like a minute because they don't look great animation wise, but it was a groundbreaking film. I completely forgot that Joss Whedon and one of the Coens co-wrote the movie, and Steve Jobs was the executive producer, which makes sense because Apple Pixar at some point.
The Cohen thing, that's actually not one of the Cohen brothers. That's some guy who has the same last name as them. And when Bill Murray signed on to Garfield,
it's Ethan.
So
It was Ethan Coen.
No, it's Ethan Cohen. He's a completely different guy. His name's Ethan Cohen. And when Bill Murray signed on to Garfield, it's because he saw Ethan Cohen said, he's like, oh, the Coen brothers are doing Garfield. I'm going to sign up for that. And then he realized, like, it's just this hack guy. Completely different.
This hack guy who did Toy Story 1. 2, this seems to be a constant thread in our podcast, Tommy, where I just assume I make a connection and then you just completely
derail it, or after fact check you.
You completely fact check me and derail it.
In person, I'm like, actually, it's so the guy's name was Joel Cohen. He wrote like Cheaper by the Dozen, Evan Almighty, and like Daddy Day Camp,
Ooh,
and then the Garfield movies.
Not the best track record for that guy, sans Toy Story. But it's an important movie to me. It's an important, opened the world of movies to me. It gave me my love of the medium itself. It's an important movie for my family. When we adopted my brother, it was the first movie we showed him, and he absolutely adored it. And so being able to relive that experience in the theaters was very special to me. So Toy Story is the if you've seen Toy Story, but go watch it again. You'll remind yourself simpler movie magic that made you love the medium as a child.
So yeah, Toy Story is fucking awesome. I love that movie. So for me, over the weekend, I worked at a horror con up in Hartford, Connecticut, CT Horror Fest. I got to meet a lot of cool people. John Cusack is one of them, even though he was not the most personal person in the world. But I also met Chris Sarandon, who you might know as Jack Skellington. Tim, we just covered him on Dog Day Afternoon. He was Al Pacino's husband, wife, or whatever.
Yes.
In that. Great actor. And he was also a movie called Fright Night that I just watched right before we started recording, which is a fantastic 80s vampire horror movie where the premise of the movie is a guy who's obsessed with horror movies. He starts to suspect that his next door neighbor is a vampire. So it goes off from there. It's pure 80s cheese. It's directed by the same guy who made the first Chucky movie. His name's Tom Holland, funny enough. But I think that's just like one of those things where like I just miss that era of just 80s premises where it's just like completely batshit stuff and like, okay, we're gonna go full tilt with it. And ends up being the movie that he recruits some guy who's essentially like an Elvira type host that's past his prime. His show's canceled, he can't get anywhere. And then he decides like, okay, like I gotta bring in this one guy to help me out with Kill the Vampire. It's really fun. If you like cheesy 80s horror movies, definitely check it out. And Tim, we're definitely gonna cover it one day. I'm gonna call it.
It's another. You can add it to you get like 2 horror months a year. You
get
October, designated October, and then usually you sprinkle like a March or somewhere around there. You're just like, I'm interested for some horror discussion on the podcast. Sean, how about you? Any good movies you saw lately?
Well, I rewatched Sinners the other day because it's Sinners and it deserves to be rewatched as much as possible. Last weekend, I think it was last weekend, I saw Spinal Tap 2, The End Continues. I'm a musician. It's a fun flick. It's not terrible. I don't know. I understand it's not going to live up to that first movie.
Of course.
It was fun. It was nice to see the band back together again. No pun intended, or I guess maybe pun intended. And it didn't like over the top, like, hey, remember this in the first movie? Hey, remember our second album when we were a real band for a month there? Like, it was a fine movie. It did all right. And then I saw The Long Walk, which is a movie I've been waiting for since I read the book as a child. And off the air, I was talking to Tommy, and I don't like giving spoilers. I like to go in blind as possible to anything. So I'll just say I was happy. And I'll leave it at that.
About it. Who's in it? Cooper Hoffman's in it, right?
That's Licorice Pizza.
Yeah. Philip Seymour Hoffman's son.
Right. And also, I can't remember his name. I've got to look it up really quick. He was the android in the last Alien movie.
I think David Johansen, is that the name?
David Johnson. Right? David Johansen is
that's the New York Dolls guy.
That's the New York Dolls guy. Yeah. David Johnson, who was the android in what was that last terrible Alien movie?
Oh, Alien Romulus. I thought that was
A-
fun. I don't
Alien Romulus was a love letter to the first movie. The guy knows the guy knows how to make a movie. It's obvious that the guy is competent in what he does. Whoever scored it did their homework. They that sounded like the Jerry Goldsmith score to me, just its own thing. But the movie itself is kind of like, hey, all these things that didn't happen past this are going to happen here, and it's going to be more advanced than anything you've seen. It's kind of like how Phantom Menace was like all bright and shiny and new, and I understand why that worked, but Romulus just didn't do it for me. But the guy's good at what he does. But David Johnson in The Long Walk is probably the only thing I'll say anything about is that what a performance from him and Hoffman.
yeah.
I do want to check. I haven't had a chance to go see that one, but I do want to check that out before it exits theaters. It looks like it'll be a fun watch
Oh,
in a
definitely
movie.
do in the theater. And also Ben Wang, the new Karate Kid, was really good in it. Like, every performance in it was great,
Mhm.
except Mark Hamill was very good, but he's not the level that the kids are at, and I that's probably by design.
I heard he was like a little cliche because he plays like the major, whoever, or
Yeah,
like
and
he's an army guy.
I mean, he's been in two of the three Stephen King movies of the year so far,
Yeah,
and
I saw the other Stephen King movie.
he was
Wait,
fantastic in that.
wait, because I saw the monkey. Was he in that, or was
No,
the
The
other
Life
one?
of Chuck.
The Life of
Oh
Chuck.
yeah, yeah. I haven't seen that one yet.
He
Yeah.
was
I
really
saw
good in that.
I got an Instagram ad saying like come to a special screening. So I saw that movie in like February in theaters.
Nice.
I got and then I had to sign a thing that says we will sue you for $10,000 if you discuss this on a podcast or post a review anywhere before the movie comes out. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm not talking about it, but now
Well,
I am talking about it.
special me. I have a podcast. They
Dude,
knew.
I saw Top Gun Maverick in December of 2019 because it was slated for a May 2020 release.
That's right. That is right.
Oh yeah,
So I could not say a goddamn thing about that movie for like an extra 2 years.
That's
oh, it
tough,
was an
especially
aggravating.
considering how good that movie is too.
I was floored by how good
Yeah,
because it like waiting online, they didn't tell us what it was yet. It was going to be that Wonder Woman 84, Bad Boys 3, Black Widow. I couldn't remember what the other one was, but I was kind of like, oh man.
you
Well,
lucked out.
You lucked
dude,
it. History
I
has
thought
proved to be on your side that
I
day.
thought Bad Boys 3 was fantastic. It's
Oh, it
probably
was
the
fun,
best of the
but
series.
yeah, it's fun, but
Um,
not the level of Top Gun Maverick.
no, I mean, it depends on what you're going for. I was honestly really surprised by how good Bad Boys 3 is. Every time I watched, I'm like, man, you are really the best of the four. Um,
the
but
the worst
Maverick,
thing
I was
though.
blown away by. Well,
Oh, sorry. The worst
uh,
thing about Bad Boys 3 is it's called Bad Boys for Life. So now, whenever you're
right.
talking about Bad Boys 4, you're never gonna remember which one that is.
That's Ride or
Because what, like,
Die.
yeah, the Ride or Die or something. That's
Ride
what
or Die, yeah.
3 should have been. So
Yeah, but I don't think they knew. I think they did that mid-credit stinger in hopes that it did well. And it was the
yeah,
highest grossing movie of 2020.
And I mean, how could they know that Will Smith would end his career just 2 years later? How could they have possibly known?
Oh, but there's that scene, and I'm sure everybody's seen Ride or Die at this point. Like
yeah, I have at
that
least. I
that
don't think Tim
scene
has.
of Martin Lawrence just smacking him in the face was fantastic.
Just like Martin Lawrence slapping the shit out of Will Smith, being like, "This is
So
for
good.
Chris Rock."
Mm.
uh, we covered the original Bad Boys on the pod last year, and Tim especially just hated that movie.
I
You
did
were
not.
not a fan.
Maybe it was because it was like right after work or something, and then I watched it, and then we covered it, and I was just like, I had a bad day at work or whatever, and I was just sitting there like watching Bad Boys, and I was just like, I don't like this at all. So I just haven't had any interest in diving for. I've heard Bad Boys too. I heard they like get better, but I just was not.
I would go 3-1-2-4. Actually, 3-1-4-2. Four
Yeah,
and
Oh,
two are
interesting.
interchangeable. Two is fine. It's just it's Michael Bay finally having a budget where he can make a bloated film. It's
yeah.
way longer than it needs to be, but it's still
It's
fine.
it's peak Michael Bay, where it's
But
just like,
there's
all right, we're
also, I mean, the character that they introduced in that second one that you think is a throwaway character, becoming what he becomes in the third and fourth movie, I think is phenomenal.
yeah, it's fantastic.
So, all right. So we got The Long Walk, we got Toy Story, and we got Tommy's movie that I've already forgotten the title of.
Friday night.
Right now, check those movies out, and also check out There Will Be Blood.
I'm a sinner.
Say it louder.
I'm a sinner.
I have abandoned my child. Say it now.
I abandoned my child.
Say it louder. Say it.
I've abandoned my boy!
Rated R, now playing in select theaters.
So this is There Will Be Blood, the 2000 American epic period drama written and directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, loosely based off the 1927 Oil by Upton Sinclair. It stars Daniel Day-Lewis, Paul Dano, Kevin J. O'Connor, Kieran Hines, and Dylan Frazier. The film follows silver miner turned oilman Daniel Plainview, Day-Lewis, as he embarks on a ruthless quest for wealth during the California oil boom in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. This film is colossal, I feel like, to talk about. When we were talking about this, I had told Tommy, because he was the first time, I was like, I want you to watch this before we like recorded this, and maybe watch it twice, because there's so much to this movie, and it takes a lot to process. It does. It's not a movie that you can watch and then just immediately go, okay, time to record, and try to then process the film itself. You need a little bit of time to think about it.
I think you made it sound more daunting than it actually was. I mean, I watched it this morning. I didn't watch it a week in advance, but I felt like it was just really like easy to grasp onto. I mean, I think that PTA just has a way of like making an epic like this not feel daunting or not feel like like a slog or anything like that. Because there's definitely a version of this movie where it could be, but I think that it was just well directed in a way that just kept my interest like throughout, and I didn't feel a need to be like, okay, like what the fuck did I just watched?
I don't think daunting is the way to put on it. I just think there's so many themes and little intricacies working on this level that like one screening of the movie probably isn't enough for, and you might need more than one of those to try to collect everything that PTA is trying to say in this movie.
Mm.
If that makes sense. Less than it being like, if I said like, let's watch 1960 Ben-Hur, where it's like, that's a 3.5 hour historical epic from the 60s, where we go, that's probably a little daunting. Like that's more I would define as a daunting.
Well, I think the problem is too, when we cover these like big epics on the pod, sometimes I sometimes procrastinate and like wait until like right before we're supposed to record. Like, okay, fuck, like, I gotta cram in like again, Barry Lyndon's the one I always think of because that's the most recent one. Whereas like I think I watched that like and finished it 10 minutes before we were supposed to record the pod. So when we recorded, I was like, fuck, like, what do I talk about? But no, this movie's great. Sean, did you see this in theaters when it first came out?
No, I didn't, unfortunately. And that was the year. What was the other? There Will Be Blood. There Will Be Blood. No Country for Old Men was also huge that year. I would take this over that a millionfold. No offense to the Coen brothers.
They're both great in their own right, both of these movies.
But this movie, the first time I watched it, my friend came over, and this is back when you got Netflix would send you these discs in an envelope. It was really, really weird. And
a little history lesson.
I was also smoking a lot of weed at the time.
Yeah.
So we watched it in like 3 parts, which is kind of how the movie's set up anyway. It's like, oh, because there was no smoking where I lived. Nice.
You mean one of these?
There's no, this is pre-Blu-ray, my friend. This was a DVD, a digital video disc.
I have at my parents' house a copy, a handycam DVD of There Will Be Blood. They bought off a scalper on the streets of New York City for $5, and I couldn't get through it because I just can't. I learned through this movie I cannot watch handycam movies. I can't do it. I just can't do it.
So So to go on a quick tangent, real quick, do you think that still happens in New York City? Do you think they're still
It
selling
does.
handy
It
cam?
does.
It does.
Yeah,
Okay.
it
Yeah.
does. But the last time I did it was the first X-Men movie because I
Yeah.
got it from some dude on a VHS and it was $5. And I bring it to my buddy's house and that whole intro starts and it's raining. But the sound was that shh. So 5 minutes after the intro, my buddy's like, I can't believe it's still raining from 1943. And I enjoyed the movie, but like it just I've become such an audiophile like nerd that I need to
Yeah.
have the crystal sound. Um,
Yeah.
Very important.
so but they still do it. It still happens. Bubbles is still walking somewhere around Baltimore with his card of bootleg DVD movies. Um,
It was a whole system because I remember I got like kick ass off the street, and that was actually a really good like handy cam rip. Like you
man,
couldn't even tell.
I saw that in the theater blind. I knew nothing about it. Somebody was like, "You should check this out. It's going to be funny." And I was like, "Okay." I didn't even watch a trailer. I just trusted their word on it. And all they told me was it's the new Matthew Vaughn movie, and I loved Layer Cake. And
Yeah.
they're like, "This one's going to be funnier." I'm like, "Well, okay." And I loved that movie. So they
Fucking
oh
awesome.
dude, first of all, Nick Cage's Adam West impression is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Nick Cage, the torture scene of Nick Cage is so perfectly
Oh,
acted.
it's such a great scene, and like he's like just shouting out everything. It's a fun movie, but he's the actor that like it also goes kind of ethically like Daniel Day Lewis. I mean, I wonder like because Paul Thomas Anderson wrote this movie for Daniel Day Lewis. He was like, okay, like he's the
Yeah,
one I want to work with. I don't think they ever worked before. Apparently, Daniel Day Lewis told like PTA like I really like Punch Drunk Love, so he started thinking of a way to bring him back. And it's fantastic. I mean, it's a movie that like hangs on his every word. He's like pretty much putting the whole team on his back. I mean, I think he's only in like there's like two scenes he's not in this movie, so it's a real tour de
yeah.
force. Really, you're constantly in, and like, can you imagine if like another actor was in this role? I don't think there would be anyone that could play it just as well. Because like, speaking of Nick Cage, he's also methody, but like this would have been awful if this is a Nick Cage movie.
This it wouldn't work for him. It's kind of
Yeah,
like so weapons. I cannot picture Pedro Pascal in Josh Brolin's role. It's I don't know. Have you guys seen Weapons? Am I spoiling?
yeah, yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So he's Josh Brolin just brings this intensity that I don't think Pedro Pascal is capable of, and I don't mean that in a negative way. But I don't think Pedro can do what Brolin did.
It doesn't make sense to me that Pedro's originally cast because yeah, when you see that role, it's like like very aggressive and stuff like that, and he has a more gentleness to him. I
Yeah,
feel like.
even in
Oh,
Eddington, he's still laid back.
yeah. So, but like with like Daniel Day Lewis, I'm thinking back, like I think this might be the first movie of his I've actually seen. Um, so there's some
Never
big blind
seen
spots for
Daniel
me.
Day. You've never seen it. We are doing Daniel Day Lewis a month in October. Skip horror.
Yeah, and now that I brought that up, I think the only other time I've seen Daniel Day Lewis in something, and I don't know if I've seen this all the way through, was in high school. We watched like the Crucible version he did of Winona Ryder, and I don't remember that being too memorable. But again, that's a movie you watched in high school English class, so go figure. But regardless, it's funny that like when you think about like the Oscars this year, how No Country for Old Men and There'll Be Blood were pretty much going neck and neck for the best picture race, and they were actually filming in the same exact area to the
Yeah,
point that at one point there's like a location in like Marfa, Texas. That No Country for Old Men was like a neighboring film production. There's one day PTA was testing the pyrotechnical effects of like the oil fire, and it just created this huge like sky of like smoke in the air. And No Country for Old Men had to delay filming for a day just because of that. Just the way they cross over.
And then No Country for Old Men got its revenge by winning Best Picture, Best Screenplay, and Best Director at the Oscars the following year.
Yeah,
yeah,
but I guess we could touch right now about like the big set piece of this movie is the oil rig fire. That scene it shows so much and everything where the PTA is like having this huge special effect happen in the background, but it still feels very personal to a character moment because you see the moment of Daniel Day Lewis's character, who we kind of jumping around right now, but Daniel Day Lewis is basically an oil rigger, and he's able to get all the stuff. And he has one point where he can either take his kid to safety or to a doctor and make sure his kid's okay, or he could focus on the oil rig fire that's happening behind him. He immediately shows his true colors, like his kid's screaming, "Please save me!" And he's like, "I got this oil behind me. I'd rather have this."
Because there's the fire of the rig, but the amount of oil that came out, he realized this is not just going to be some one port little thing that's going to make $5,000 a week. This is a haven of oil. This is what's going to define me, and I own all of the land here. And that's where his mind is focused. Like he turns to Kieran Haynes and he says the line, we're sitting under a sea of oil, and I control all of it. And he just like meanwhile his son lost all sense of hearing, frightened on a table, completely alone. And I love how this movie is so beautifully shot. The cinematography in this is just fantastic. But it like we see the passage of time through the colors of that, from turning to day into evening, with the smoke coming in and everything turning, and Day Lewis just standing there. He's not even doing anything. He's watching his men put out the fire, but he is just in admiration of what he has here on his hands. Meanwhile, his son is in ruin behind him, and he's just completely abandoned him for the first time in this movie.
Yeah, and at that point, you're immediately like realizing like how much of a like prop his son was. I do love in the beginning of the movie when like he has that one scene like the town hall, wherever town he was in, and his son just is sitting right next to him. And his son looks like the creepiest like bug-eyed kid you ever seen in your life. You're sitting in the middle, you're like, what the fuck is that? But immediately,
he looks like a kid in like a portrait. Like if you just stumble upon pictures from 1904, like old black and white pictures, it just looks like a kid from that. Like it's actually very perfect casting, where you're just looking at this like little kid. He's just kind of standing there, bug eyed. But I think it's an important thing because he's a cult of personality. He's a master salesman, a master of persuasion, Daniel Plainview. And he kind of comes in and he realizes that being able to connect to these frontier people and their families as a family man himself is the way to win over these deals. And then we find a big reveal much later in the I would call it the epilogue of the film, that whether or not this is true or not, but when his son HW decides, he says, "Hey Dad, I'm going to move to Mexico with my wife and start my own oil business." And he tells him that you're not a son, you are an adopted, you are a prop to help me grow my empire. Basically abandoning his son there. It's one of those things where I kind of watch it and I could go, I don't know if I necessarily believe that. Like
No, he is.
I think that is his son. I think that was
No, it's not his
Yeah.
son. His son is the guy that gets killed in the beginning. It's that guy's son.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he does save the kid, but he still uses him as a prop.
Yeah, and you can see why. I mean, it's very effective. I mean, that opening scene again.
Oh my God. On the train, the look.
Yeah, exactly. Like the thousand-yard stare. But like even when he's in the town hall, Daniel Day-Lewis, his like whole entire performance, the rhythm of his voice, his like candor, the way he speaks, is just so captivating. It really drew me in. I think that like he just gives such a great vocal performance just alone in this movie.
Oh, hell yes.
So
but even like with his face and his reaction shots and his control of of this, it's not like a full blown narcissist, but he's definitely has a lot of narcissistic tendencies, and the way that he wants to conduct himself as a proper gentleman, despite him being a ruthless savage underneath it all. Like I think the first negotiation scene between him and Eli when he's trying to buy the Sunday Ranch and that breakdown of it, because he has the dad where he's like, "I want to buy this property for the quail. I'll give you $6 an acre," which insane prices to hear about, by the way. Where was I?
This is a fun.
Where was I in 1904? I could control the world with what I have in my bank.
This was a fun inflation calculator movie where like immediately I was like, okay, like what was this in that time?
Yeah, it's craziness, but and Eli challenging him, Eli recognizing that there is oil on this property and that you need to be giving us much more money. And it's the first time we see this character break down, and we're not sure who this man is. He's giving us all the appearances of being a caring family man, uh, and even in that first scene, where, he gives the speech and the town hall just turns into chaos, and he just walks away. He goes, "You could gift this to me. I have no interest in it." And he's like walking away, and you go, "Is this maybe this is a businessman with some kind of code or ethics?" But we come to learn with this character, it's because he hates people. He wants to
Yeah.
be isolated and alone, and having to deal with these kind of people. No, there's nothing in the world that would make him want to deal with them.
Well,
And
there's so many scenes that like subtly show that. I think one of my favorite is when like he walks in on Paul Dano, Eli character, doing like the sermon in church where he's like trying to cure the woman of her arthritis, and Daniel Lewis is just like taking this all in the back of the church, and like you can just like kind of see almost like in his like whole like body language right there that he's like, oh, these fucking jackasses, this is gonna be so easy for me. This is who I have to do to get through this.
but he detests them because he sees it as a show and as a theatric.
Yeah,
And Paul Dano, we haven't touched on. He plays two characters: Paul, who is in one scene of the movie, and then Eli for the rest of the movie, um, where he is just as ambitious as Daniel Plainview in terms of what he wants, in terms of growing his congregation and growing his connection to the Lord and reaching more and more people. Like, I think when he first goes to Little Boston, and they have the second town hall sequence, which is basically an improved version of that, but with a better sequence of it, where they're talking about this community, but meanwhile we're just watching all these builders coming into town, new things coming up, new this, new that, while he's saying all the right thing. Education is the future. We will provide education. We will provide water, make these grains growable. So we will have bread. All the right things that he's saying, but meanwhile, you don't even know who's coming into town. These people don't even know. But all Paul Dano's concern is, will the new road lead right to the church? Right? And you almost take that at first as like, oh, he's just a religious man. He's concerned about the church. But we slowly see that he's got this competitive side to him. And I think one of the two scenes that Daniel Day Lewis is not in, when they have that second family dinner at the Sunday house and he wails on his father.
it's just
Now,
fantastic. Oh, you go. Yeah.
but just think about this really quick. Paul and Eli, it's not, I don't think it's a separate character. And every time I watch this, I have to I really pay attention. I think that Eli has a multiple personality disorder, and that
Mm.
Paul every now and then comes out from that. And that's why he's freaking out on his father for selling. And that's why, fast forward a bit to the end when he says, I gave your brother I forgot how much money it is. And he's like,
10,000,
don't mention
10,000.
that's it, yeah. Just like that. And he's like, don't mention him. Because I think he's admitting that this is not a real person, that this
I,
is a
I
figment.
can, I think I'm kind of with there on you because I feel like in the beginning of the movie when like Daniel Day Lewis finally comes to like his like ranch or whatever, and then he meets Paul Dano's other character. First off, I was like, wait, are these two separate characters? I didn't realize that until like maybe like 20 minutes later that was not the same guy from that he was talking to in the beginning, at least as we're supposed to believe. But I think the look that Daniel Day Lewis gives Paul, like the kind of like nod when like he's me like, oh, my name is Eli. He's like, Eli, okay, all right. It's like a little like nod, like, all right, I see what you're doing here. I felt like kind of like acknowledgement right there.
It's like Eli pretty much like lured Daniel there for the
Yeah.
money to be like, oh yeah, there of course there's oil here, and yes, you can get this stuff here, and you can build this road to my church.
Mhm.
No,
But it is
I
so funny because constantly, like Eli is just such a thorn in like Daniel Day Lewis's side, but like in a very annoying one. Where he's just like, "What the fuck? This goddamn nerd's talking about church again? Like, I don't give a shit. I believe in all religions or whatever." That's what he's talking to Paul. When he's like, "Oh, what church do you believe to?" He's like, "I
well,
find them all a little bit interesting."
we haven't talked about the beginning of this movie, but especially in a time when religion was so prevalent in our country, um, you know, Daniel Day's character being an atheist it should come as a surprise, but it's not. And we watch it when he's doing his silver mining or gold mining, and he falls down the well and breaks his leg. And at a point when most men would give up and pray to God that somebody will come, nope, he pulls himself out of that well and he drags himself with a broken leg, miles from any settlement to get help. So he is a man that is full of ambition and has this survivability about him. Like nobody will kill him and nobody will stop him at nothing. And it's the defining trait of this character throughout. It's the one thing that keeps him going. Because we even see at the end when he's as the mansion in Beverly Hills or wherever the mansion is located. I go back to and we'll talk about the brother more when the quote unquote brother comes and he finally feels like he has a friend or someone who he can relate with through blood who's maybe been through something similar to him there, and they're having his kind of conversation, and he mentions at one point having the mansion where his family can be and his children can be, and generations of Plainviews. He is using the entryway as a target gallery because he is bored. He's conquered the world and he has nothing left to do. And it's a really sad it's a really sad character when you think about it. Ultimately, he's a man who has everything, yet he has nothing.
Exactly, because like when you see him by the end of the movie, like there's the only person he probably regularly speaks to when he's home is his butler. It's like, what world is that at that point? And I think there's something poignant about this. There's not a single like girl in this movie practically, like whatsoever. There might be like a few speaking roles here and there, but like for the most part, this movie is devoid of any like woman presence, and I think that's kind of intentional to a bit. Where I feel like there could be a reading of like, is Daniel Plainview like a homosexual? And I think he could be.
In the book, he's dating a Hollywood starlet, but since it's only loosely based on it, I think it's just the fact that he doesn't want to make the time for any of that. And
Yeah.
even the moment he sees that he can cut his son loose, he cuts his son loose.
Then, yeah, immediately he can get rid of like any emotional attachment in the world. He's like, all right, good, I can get out right there.
Yeah.
So, but and then there's the fact of like, the whole story of him being like saying like, oh, the mom died in childbirth and stuff like that. Like, do we even know like if anything like that, like it was that actually what happened, just some random bullshit he's doing? So,
I'd say that I want to say like maybe 95% of everything that comes out of his mouth is a lie.
yeah. It's one of those things of like one of the traveling salesman kind of thing where he has that little aspect of him too, where he just crawls out of nowhere.
Everything that comes out of his mouth is a lie, except for when he's talking to his half brother. That's the only time he's ever truthful in the movie about what he wants.
It feels like the second that he finds out like the ruse of like his brother like not actually being his brother,
yeah,
he just becomes immediately like devoid of emotion, devoid of compassion or anything like that, of empathy. It's just his humanity left in that moment.
I disagree because after he kills his brother and buries him, or the man impersonating his brother, he has this like breakdown, this like complete overwhelming of emotions coming out. Because at this moment he's left after HW's death. He sends him to a school. He abandons him. He kills the only man that he feels like he can talk to, who truly knew or understood what he went through, and he's just like overcome with emotion. So like I don't know if I necessarily agree that he just completely becomes devoid of emotion, but I think he becomes more ruthless.
it's more about that he like opened himself up and then realized that he had been had, and his ego just couldn't take that.
Yeah,
That's definitely a part of it too. But I think for a man as lonely as he is, as isolated as he is, because all of his other relationships are all business. It's
Yeah.
all that's the focus of it. There's no personal connections. We see Kieran Hayes throughout the movie, but he's just kind of his henchman. He does his bidding, but he's not the guy he's having a powwow with about any of his problems,
Right.
like how he's feeling or what's going on in the world. And this man who comes along is the only person. Like we have that great speech where they're drinking outside, and he's talking about crushing his enemies and how he hates people. It's like the first time we truly understand who the, like we're seeing the little cracks of it. We're like, oh, this is kind of a ruthless businessman. Like
Mm.
probably not the best guy in the world. But this is the first time we hear him say it, and it's such a commanding performance. It's so towering. It's so dynamic, and it makes you understand what it is. But I think it's ultimately like a really good embodiment of that, like, late 19th century, early 20th century capitalism, where like the Wild West is dying and it's becoming industrialized, and it's this like modern Western, like this film as a whole, and just putting this storm coming in and taking over California. And you know, before Hollywood, this is what gave California its prominence. You had the gold rush, and then you have the oil boom. But like this is what made California into the state that it is, where a lot of the money for the financing for the film industry would end up inevitably coming from. And this man is like that representation of it on film, and it's a very interesting look back on to that era of history and onto these ruthless 20th century business figures.
Yeah, definitely, without doubt. And it gets to the point where like you realize like all the money in the world can't buy you fucking happiness whatsoever. And his character realizes over and over again, no matter how much he gets everything, he gets everything he fucking wants, and at the end of the day, he's still fucking depressed. And just like I love that you see him just like pretty much just broken down like a complete drunk in the fucking bowling alley in the end of the movie, where like he's just like, and right before he murders fucking Paul Dano, he's just like slinging like fucking whiskey, just straight up just chugging it right there. It's like, oh my god,
Well,
doing after it.
he's been doing that throughout the whole movie. He just
Yeah,
doesn't have. He does. I think he is happy at the end of the movie.
Oh yeah.
I think like like the read on that character is he's got everything that he wants. It's just like you should not want this. I mean, there's a little bit
well,
of Charles Foster Kane in him.
Oh, there's a
well, it,
lot of Charles Foster Kane in him, definitely.
mm. Yeah, and it gets to the point of you wonder like sometimes in a movie like this, like okay, it's like what's the next hour? What's like the next like few days or something like that? And it feels like this is not like the beginning of the end of him for whatsoever. He's just gonna get away with this. Like no one's really gonna be looking for Eli. He's just gonna walk away.
It doesn't matter if somebody goes and looks for him or not. Like how do you can't go after somebody like this? Like he just said, like the butler comes in and he's not even phased seeing a dead body next to him. He
I'm
goes, Mr.
finished.
Plainview, I'm finished.
And the other thing too is that like he threatens a guy publicly. He threatens to cut his throat in his sleep publicly, and somebody calls him out on it, and nobody can do anything about it.
Yeah, he's
Even the guy Bandy was that yeah Bandy saw
mhm.
him kill his brother or the guy
Yeah,
that yeah sees that happen and he's trying to hold it over his head. It's why he doesn't want to sell him the land, and he figures out drainage. He figures
and
out
he's like,
angles.
and he thinks that he can save this man by having him become baptized. But
Yeah.
little does he know he will do anything. I love that baptism sequence. Paul Dano just going into full Joel Austin mode and just
Yeah,
completely,
yeah,
completely, you know, having him a front for his sin. It's funny that the murder itself doesn't really get taken into too much, have too much influence and sway there. It's more about abandoning his son and
mm.
like that betrayal of that connection there. And I mean, like Dano as a pastor, like we only see him really do the full pastor bit twice, but man, is he having fun! Is you can just tell he's having the time of his life, like
Yeah.
emanating this, and it's just this like wicked contention back and forth of Dano just trying to get him to break, trying to break this shield of a man that he has put up in front of him, and finally getting him to just crack. And at least for me, I wasn't sure like, did he actually crack or did he recognize like I need to crack here to just get myself out of this situation?
Yeah.
And
I I realized it later. I think that like pretty much Daniel Lewis just realized like what he needed to do to get like his like pipeline, and he just went along with the ride. He's like, all right, whatever. I'll say this. I'll say abandon my son or whatever like that. Whatever. Let's get it past this.
And then once he
So
does, the next time Eli like just he's had enough and he just starts smacking him like a child right in
yeah.
the middle of the street. It just that's his breaking point right there. He's like, oh, I've had enough of you, you little shit,
When
and
he
just
comes
starts.
looking for the $5,000, and
Yeah,
it leads to your theory about the about him being having a split personality, dual personality disorder or something, because he already gave this man money in his mind and believes that Paul, and
yeah,
Eli are the same person, and then having him come again begging for money. He's like, I've already given you money, and starts just
yeah.
embarrassing him,
Mhm.
humiliating him, to the point of defeat, and then that leads to Eli taking it out on his father, and it's this cycle of these kind of men, these men who are larger than life, and it leads into that final scene in the bowling alley so perfectly, where he's talking about this the grandson wanting to come out here. He's a handsome boy. He wants to be in the movies, but his radio programs have lost him money. He doesn't have money, and he needs Daniel Day Lewis to buy up the land there just so he can survive. And it leads to the iconic "I drink your milkshake," which apparently was part of the Teapot Dome scandal. Was said pretty much verbatim in the floors of the United States Congress.
It's fantastic. I was joking to Timmy that like almost immediately after watched this movie this morning, I went out and had a milkshake with my lunch.
Oh, I mean, there would be a point in my life where I would just watch that end scene. Like I would be high. I've been sober for years now, but I'd be like high and like something would just like trigger my brain, like, oh fuck, I gotta watch that scene. So I've seen the movie a bunch of times, but I've seen that scene, God, I don't know how many handfuls of time, and it's so perfect, just how he breaks down explaining angles and drainage to him. And it's the simplest, dumbest thing. He never even finishes the sentence, too.
Yeah,
He's like,
Mm.
it
if
just
you have a
goes into
milkshake and I have a milkshake and I have a straw, are you watching, Eli? It goes across the room and just breaks it down to something so stupid that just to tell him about drinking his milkshake and then fucking killing him is it's
and
fucking
not even just like killing him, just like and doing it for sport. Like
terrorizing. Yeah, he's terrorizing him for
Yeah, yeah,
sport. Yeah. And it's pun intended because I mean it isn't a bowling alley. He's throwing bowling
yeah,
balls
yeah.
at him. So he gets all Lebowski on him and he starts chucking bowling balls at him and just but that whole like I drink your milk, don't bully me, Daniel. Like all of a sudden he's like Paul for half a second. It's
yeah,
it's it's just even if you were bored, I know that some people call it there will be boredom and they claim to be
Oh,
movie
not
fans,
at
and I'm
all.
like, you did not see the same movie I did. But
they will
even
be
if you
on
were, that last 10 minutes or 15 minutes,
that last half an hour with the first part with the sun. I mean, I
oh
love
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
that transition where what's the girl's name?
What
Sarah, I
is
believe,
yeah,
right?
you're just a
Um,
bastard in a basket.
and then but it transitions from like I love that transition into 1927 from 1911, where it's a close up of young Sarah's face, and then it's just her, like, and her white dress, and then it's in a different white dress, and we pan up, and it's clearly her older. I'm like, oh, that is such a good transition shot. I love that so much. And then her doing the sign language to HW at the church, and we don't even see Daniel Plainview there. Maybe he's the guy sitting on the bench, but we're not even sure. And we're
Mm.
going, how disconnected is this guy from his son? And we truly learn that
A lot. The answer is
a lot, and how he truly views him, and HW saying, I'm grateful that I inherited none of you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Really
Uh,
speaks power volumes about this kind of man, because you would think you'd look at that house and you'd look at it with some sort of sense of admiration and awe and wonder and go, yeah, I'd like to live that guy's life, but ultimately you don't. Like I don't. I'd much happier in my place in life than I would be in that guy's place in life, alone with two yes men butlers
Yeah,
on my side,
it's
signing
that.
checks and shooting uh, targets by myself in my foyer. I don't know if that'd be fun.
No, no, no. It is one thing though about this movie though. This movie takes place over the course of like essentially 30 years, give or take. And I do find it interesting that they didn't age up like Daniel Day-Lewis at all throughout the movie. Like you would have expected almost the end of the movie him having more gray or something like that. Just a minor makeup thing where I was like, okay, I guess he just stays the same, just Daniel Day-Lewis the whole time.
It's a
Angry and just bitter. And oh, her
Yeah,
name is Mary, by the way.
Mary,
Mary.
Mary,
Mary
yeah, yeah.
Sunday. Yeah.
Mary
Um,
Sunday.
and it
Uh,
says Paul and Eli, but it's Peli or Elop or whatever you want to call him. It's the same
Yeah.
guy.
no, I do agree with you with the split personality disorder. But uh, before we talk and dive into the performances, I wonder who's going to win that category. What is everybody's favorite scene or moment in this film? Because I think it's just such a collection of so many great sequences. I read it, I believe it's 600, it's between 600 and it's like 678 total shots used in the movie. It's such a lot of long, wide takes in this movie. It's really like captivating with the camera really only moving when it needs to show you something, when it needs to zoom in. But for what is everybody's either best monologue, best sequence, best whatever part, what really stands out in each of your minds?
So I brought up the scene in the beginning of the pod, but this is a scene I find so captivating. Just the beginning of the movie where like basically Daniel Day Lewis's kid, H.I. Plainview, the young version, is just like sitting right next to him, staying right next to him while he's talking to the town. And he's the town buys every single word, and just this whole monologue by like, now I'm an oilman, and I can prove it to you that I'm an oilman, or anything like that. And you immediately get everything you need to know about this character right from that moment. It's just great. And you can immediately tell also that like he doesn't give a shit about his son. It's just like a random like rich guy son where it's just like, hey, look at me. You have empathy for me. I have a young kid. I care about the people too. So I think it's just fantastic, and just the blocking and the directing and like the close-ups on Daniel Day Lewis, and they're fantastic. And then coming back to like there's probably like 20 people in the room just listening to him and talk about this. So
Sean, what about you?
I got to go with the end. Although I love the opening of the movie as well. Like just
Oh yeah.
it might as well have been a silent movie, and it's all about the cinematography and the subtext, and
mm,
just like so that opening to Baby HW putting his hand on his face, like this, it just really sets up like, all right, who like you're determined, but what's this all about? But I mean, just Paul Dano and Daniel Plainview, or Eli and Daniel Plainview together, just any of those scenes. I'll take any of them, um, gladly.
I so I'm gonna just throw my third one in there. We touched upon it briefly, but the oil rig explosion is the
mm.
monster sequence in this movie. Just a work of cinematography, a work of performance, just coming together, and a work. It's great screenwriting too. It's where who this character like in these moments you can define who a man is, and this is when we learn he doesn't care about HW at all. Like it's kind of led up through that movie. He at least seems to care for him. They go quail hunting. They seem to be inseparable. They seem whether he's a prop or not doesn't matter. He seems to care for the boy at some point, but nope. And it's not even for needing to save the oil rig and making sure that his investment isn't gone. It was the realization of how much oil is underneath him and how much money he's going to make and the empire he will be able to build because of this. It's daunting. It's a really powerful sequence, and I think it's my favorite in the movie. But I think I don't know. A lot of the sequences in this movie are my favorite in the movie. I truly
It's
get blown away by by this movie.
yeah.
I am a star. I'm a star, I'm a star, I'm a star. I am a big, bright, shining star.
Hey, Paul Thomas Anderson soundtrack. There you go. There you go. Okay. who is the star of the show? Should we just call this the Daniel Day-Lewis star of the show program,
Mm.
and then so I
Yeah.
think we've kind of made it clear, right?
Well, again, he's there's only two scenes in this whole movie he's not in. So I think it's captivating. I mean, it's no shocker that he won the Best Actor, and this was a great year for movies. I mean, like he was going up against like George Clooney and Michael Clayton and stuff like that. So like the fact that when you're going up against like probably like some of the best movies and some of the best performances at the time, and still able to pull away, no brainer. It's Daniel Day Lewis. So, but I do want to shout out real quick how many like random comedian character actors are in this. Like Paul F. Tompkins shows up in like the opening scene as one of the guys. I guess if you have weird facial hair, you're allowed in this movie. So Paul F. Tompkins was allowed. And then the other one was Jim Downey, the SNL writer, who's great in Dirty Work. He's great in like so many other random like SNL movies. He was the guy in Billy Madison that said, "You said what you said was the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life." Like that whole speech. He shows up in this movie too, and I was like, "Oh, that's great to see."
And if you're younger, he's the guy on the Conan podcast who says Jeff Epstein, the New York financier.
Oh yeah.
That's
And
Jim
also the
Downey.
guy that plays his brother. Oh shit. Come on. You
I
No,
just
don't.
said his name.
Kevin
Kevin
J.
J.
O'Connor.
O'Connor has done more comedic roles. The Mummy or what's the
Oh, he's
movie?
Benny.
Yeah,
He's in Van
yeah.
Helsing.
The movie with Extract where he loses a nut. It was a Mike Judge flick with Jason Bateman and Mila Kunis
Uh,
and
Lord of
th
the Illusions.
I don't know that one.
Um, but yeah, I mean, there's a ton of great performances. Sean, are you saying that it's Kevin
Oh
J.
no, I'm
O'Connor?
just saying he's another more comedic actor
Oh yes, yes,
taking
yes.
on. Oh no, I honestly, man, I Paul Dano is just one of my favorite actors anyway,
Hmm.
and he's holding his own. His performance is equally just as
He's
great.
young, and he's young. He's really young
Yeah,
here
this
too.
is like
This was
maybe
like
his third big movie.
yeah, like right after Little Miss Sunshine, which I always forget he
Oh
was a
my
part of
God,
that.
dude, when he's told about being colorblind in Little Miss Sunshine, just that silent reaction of his head exploding from that news is
Yeah.
some of the best acting I've ever seen. So like, yeah, this is after and Girl Next Door, which
I mean,
he
he's either 22 or 23 when he films this movie, so he's
yeah, I
very,
mean,
Well,
very,
so
it
that
very, very young.
right there,
to
like
to your
that's
to
that
your
gives it
point
to me.
though, it does it to your point that like I have to wonder how bad the person who first played Eli was because apparently that guy was like intimidated by Daniel Day Lewis and stuff like that. So now Paul Dano's like he was able to get both roles, and I wonder if they would have played more less with like the whole like is it possibly in his head if Paul Dano wasn't the double role?
Who
No,
knows?
but
John,
he makes it work.
you stole my hot take that I was going to build up to here because I listen. It's Daniel Day Lewis. Like I think we all could agree that it's like it's maybe the greatest performance of the 21st century.
Oh,
It,
yeah.
it is that good. And but like I feel like everybody's known since My Left Foot, like the best working actor is Daniel Day-Lewis. I feel like it's just kind of been known. He's very selective about his projects. He does a movie like every 4 to 5 years, and when he does a movie, you know he's going to be great in it, and he just has that reputation. He's such a method actor. He's so involved and gets so involved in the characters that he becomes them to the truest form. You stole my hot take. I was going to say Dano because I I think you need Eli like this movie done poorly has the main adversary be another oil tycoon and them fighting off against each other. Like that's it. I think like having it be a spiritual adversary, I think it is such like a it takes the right person to be able to play off a little bit of the innocence that you want a pastor to be able to uphold, but also keep that level of where you're just like, this guy knows what he's doing. He's not just Mr. Innocent here. He wants to build an empire as well, and he's concerned about building this congregation to the fullest size that it can be, I think is just it's a really masterful performance. I think it's underlooked, but it's hard to get attention when you're competing with Daniel Day Lewis and maybe his best role.
Oh, for sure. Wait.
That out.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, 100%. Because I remember like I thought he was great as Lincoln, but I was kind of disappointed with Lincoln
It's
because there was no intensity, and I was like, I've kind of stayed away from Phantom Thread. It's the only PTA movie I haven't seen
oh, it's good.
because
It's good.
I'm sure it's a PTA movie with Daniel Day-Lewis. Like that's I already know it's good. I've kind of stayed away from it because at this point I don't know why, but I want the intensity, and I know it's
Yeah.
not that kind of role. And like I mean I have it. Like any moment I want to watch it, I can do it. It's just for some reason I'm holding back, and I know at some point I'm just gonna be like, what the hell? I'm gonna finish that movie at some point and be like, what the fuck did I wait all this time for?
Yeah. Why did I wait so long on a PTA movie? What was I thinking?
I mean, it'll
I
never
mean, that's
be
how
as
I feel about
worse.
this.
We might have to have you on because I know Tommy also has not seen Phantom Thread, so we might have to have you back on, and we can cover Phantom Thread at a later point in time.
I'm down with
Or
that.
force you to cover it, force you to watch it.
Yeah.
Here.
That's how I got through some of the classics. It's like, oh, Tom, you never seen Godfather? Well, guess what? You cover on the pod now. But see what happened.
I watched some of the horror classics. Like I hadn't seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I hadn't seen the original.
Well, then
Halloween.
sometimes I think the one time that backfire was like, Tim, you haven't seen the Evil Dead remake. We gotta watch that, and you hated it.
Oh, I hated that.
I
Oh,
stayed away from it, so I still haven't seen it yet either.
It's this. It's the same guy as Alien Romulus.
So I'm sure it's well made. Like I said, the guy knows how to make a movie. He's not making them for me.
Yeah.
Are you ready, comedy partner? Waka waka.
okay. Would There Will Be Blood? Can you picture Muppets in it at all? Can you? I can picture a Muppet Frontier movie or a late Western Muppet movie. There's just a part of me that wants to watch Daniel Day-Lewis interact with Muppets.
Oh yeah, you keep down Day Lewis, and then like he's like in a Muppet town. He's on like Sesame Street trying to sell them oil, and like that's like the opening of the movie instead, right there. And then, like there's like hijinks happening in the background. His kid is just like what's Kermit's nephew?
Robin.
Robin, yeah, Robin. Robin's just his kid in this movie. It's just this little prop. He's like literally holding him up by like a puppet hand.
Gonzo would have to be Eli.
Oh yeah,
Gonzo
I mean-
would be a great Eli.
Yeah, I mean he's the only one I can really think of. Or Scooter.
I
I can see Scooter too.
Kermit as Eli could work too.
I mean,
I
but
feel like-
it's like I don't want to see Kermit get like brained with a bowling pin.
But Scooter does have kind of a Paul Dano vibe in general. Now that
He
you
does,
say that.
right?
Yeah, he does.
He does.
It takes an underrated guy and puts him in the spotlight.
Like think about Scooter just behind a glass going, Bruce Wayne. And it's right there, man.
But we are friends. There's a great thing that I just shared in the chat earlier. Tim, I don't know if you saw it, but there's this artist, Bruce McCorkindale, who always does like Muppet versions of movies. He did one of this movie, There Will Be Blood. And it's Bert as Plainview, just like drinking a milkshake out of Ernie's milkshake, and Ernie's just holding in Ernie's Eli. It's fantastic.
That's great. That is
So
great.
right there. So shout again to Bruce McCorkindale. Keep on doing your Muppet commissions. They're amazing. Our friend got taken in Pelham 1231, where it's the count is Robert Shaw. And he goes, yeah. So look him up on Instagram. Great guy. But I think this could work. I mean, I think that you just make it a little goofier because Daniel Day-Lewis would do like the Michael Caine thing, where he'd be like, "My co-stars are Muppets. They are humans. They're."
Yeah,
But I'm gonna play it straight. That's why his Ebenezer Scrooge and Christmas Carol is so good. She's like, I'm gonna play it straight. I'm gonna play it.
Yeah.
That's so brilliant.
Underrated Christmas movie, Muppet Christmas.
I
Story.
mean, is it? So I know people. Actually, there's a guy I play music with in a ton of projects that loves it. Every year he watches. To me, the song is like I want Paul Williams writing Paul Williams songs like Emmett
Yeah.
Otter's Jug Band Christmas or even like, the songs from the first Muppet movie. Like that's the Paul Williams I'm a fan of. And
Mhm.
the songs in Christmas Carol are okay. They're not terrible, but they don't grab me that same way. And since I am watching a Muppet movie with Christmas songs, just give me those Christmas songs. Give me Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas songs.
Yeah.
But
It
Michael
needs more
Caine,
Dr.
so
Teeth.
Daniel Day-Lewis, seriously, there was no Dr. Teeth Christmas song. I mean, what they're missing out. You need the Mayhem doing a
This is our
Christmas.
second hot take we've gotten from you
I mean,
today.
I think
This
the
is a hot
Mayhem and
take.
the River Bottom Nightmare Band should tour together, and that
Yeah.
would be the shit. Plainview as Plainview, but the Muppets being Muppets would be amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, review time, guys. Give me your score out of five. Sean, kick it over to you.
5, 5,
Five out of five. All right.
100% of 5.
Tommy.
Yeah, so I'm going to echo Sean. 5 out of 5. Total classic. I mean, this is a great first watch. I mean, I was almost intimidated because Timmy was making it seem like this is going to be a daunting movie to watch, but it wasn't whatsoever. You didn't even feel its length, I felt like, whatsoever. And that's a real compliment for a movie that's pushing 3 hours. So PTA fucking master, and I can't wait for one battle after another. So 5 out of 5.
You know what that means.
Pour myself a cognac, and I watch the 14 fists of McCluskey. What a picture. What a picture.
Good picture.
5 out of 5. It's a seminal work of art. Yeah, it's arguably one of the greatest films of the 21st century. Daniel Plainview might be one of the greatest characters of the 21st century. A true epic in scope, character, and themes. It's a masterful work of art, and a true 5 out of 5. And Tommy, that's two this month. We had Dog Day Afternoon and this.
Yeah. So we haven't.
Get that award out. We don't get that award out often. Every test panel has to agree on it being a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, in order to get that. So it's been like a year before, because Texas Chainsaw we did last year gave it 5 out of 5, and it took a whole year until Dog Day Afternoon, and now once again 5 out of 5 again. So will our next movie be like that? What are we covering next? One battle after another, or Poltergeist? Could be.
Poltergeist is a 5 out of 5.
I haven't seen it. We will see.
Oh,
Yeah.
And I'm the harsher of the two. So
Poltergeist. So there's this thing. There's the 80s slasher horror movies, and then there's like the other kind of 80s horror movie that like went for something different. And keep in mind, Spielberg wrote Poltergeist while he was writing E.T. So E.T. was Dark Skies, and then E.T. and Poltergeist got split into two different scripts.
Mhm.
So you've got that whimsical Spielbergism about Poltergeist. So
There's a big Amblin entertainment about it.
exactly right, but you think of like there's those 80s horror movies that are more like oh, you just said it before. What's the Fright Night? Or
Yeah.
you've got A Night of the Comet, like stuff like that. That's just like it's insane, but it's kind of fun.
Mhm.
well, I'm excited for it. I'm excited to cover it. We will see. Maybe we have another one coming up on the way, but this is a great episode. Some technical issues at the beginning, so thank you all for bearing through it, especially you, Sean, Tommy. You've dealt with me enough to deal with that. But Sean, thanks so much for joining on. Can you tell the people where to find you and anything you'd like to plug?
Oh, sure. I mean, I'm an independent musician, and I'm one of those guys that kind of look at people spend $15 a month on streaming ad free and unlimited, which is cool. It's a great bargain for the consumer, but these are people that would never spend $15 a month buying music before this stuff existed. So, as an independent musician, you hear something that you like, spend $1. It's $1. Maybe it's $1.25 these days. And that could be on me or any other independent musician because that's how the bills get paid. Linktree, Sean Faust Music. And I'm not here just to say, hey, buy my music or else you're a douche. I'm sure I could think of other expletives. But seriously, it's like my friend Mikey Mason says, the great Mikey Mason says, if you don't support the things you love, they go away. And what I like to do with the sales of my music is I like to take care of animals, and that could be my four cats. That could be the outdoor cats. That could be a student's dog. That could be anybody that needs help. Like this, an animal shelter could need money to replace a washing machine or just need towels or something like that. I want to be the guy to be like, here, take it, just have it. But I mean, I need sales to do that. So please buy
Mhm.
my music to not only help me keep a roof over my head, but to help me help animals. And if you don't want to do that, if you don't like what you hear from me, no love lost. Find your local animal shelter and make a donation.
Yeah,
Very true. We will link that in our description here if you want to go check out Sean's music and if you want to
yeah, and
support
check out
him.
Sean on Twitter too.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
mean I'm on all the social. I'm on most of the. I'm on some of the socials.
yeah, there's so many. But Sean's a great follow on Twitter. We interact a ton, especially over our love of Streets of Fire, which Tim needed to make
Yes.
you cover.
It's so good.
So, yeah, such a fun movie. You can follow him on Twitter at Sean Faust. A great follow.
And
Thanks, man. I
then,
appreciate that.
and then Tommy, any final thoughts before we wrap this one up?
Well, thank you guys so much for listening. You can find us on social media. That's at CNET That's on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. And we're also on Blue Sky. That's podcnet.bluesky.social. And leave us a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Helps us out, helps us grow the show. So, and then next week, if we can make it, I think we might be covering one battle to another.
We'll
And
cover it in October. It's just going to depend on when we can actually see it and get that episode out. But yes, that is the next
yeah,
one. Keep in the spirit of Paul Thomas Anderson. But thank you all so much for listening. We will see you next time.